Completing the square, day 2. As promised, more difficult. More difficult. To make sure we're ready to handle the more difficult situation, let's go over one from yesterday really fast to refresh your brain on completing the square. Complete the square to convert from standard to vertex. Y equals x squared plus 14x plus 40. What to do? What to do?
Divide 14 by 2 and then square.
Yeah, and I saw some people writing all over the place on their page, and that's fine. I suggest if you really want to keep things neat, when you do work like that, you put it right here to the left. You go b over 2 squared, which in this case is 14 over 2 squared, which ends up being 49. Some people, if the numbers are reasonable enough, they're not even showing this work. They can divide by 2 and square in their head, and that's fine. Okay? So that number gets added in there. I say, okay, I really wish that was 49 instead. Am I allowed to just add 49 to things?
Yeah.
No. You absolutely cannot just add 49 to things. You change what they are. What number can you add? Zero. Yeah, all correct. I can add 0, so if I'm going to add 49, I also have to subtract 49. I encourage you to underline the 3 terms you're going to factor. And then find the 2 numbers that multiply to 49, but add to 14. 7 both times. 7 both times. See, 49 was the perfect number. It was the perfect choice so that this thing factored as x plus 7 and then another x plus 7. I put the number there that completed the square. I had the first 2 terms of the square. I wanted to complete the square. And then negative 49 plus 40 is negative 9. And then I'm done. Do you have any questions about that part of the procedure?
No.
Okay. Up to this point, all have had a value 1. Today, what happens if a is not 1? Before I switch the page, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. It's actually pretty simple what I'm going to do. All I'm going to do is, if the a value is not 1, I'm going to common factor it off. Then I'm going to do what we're doing there, and then I'm going to multiply the a back in. Sounds not bad. You practice it, it's not bad. You don't practice and do your homework, it gets bad in a hurry. Yeah, and yeah, no, it's so true. If you didn't do your homework, you might find today's lesson hard. If you did it, you're like, okay, yeah, that's no problem really. Yeah, here it is, written all out one time. Don't copy anything. Just see what's happened here. Don't worry about the details. I'm going to do some more. I'm going to do 3 examples with details. A value of 2, very stressful. So you common factor it out. You put the 2 out front there. See, there it is there. And then look what's inside now. Inside, now the a value is back to 1. Then you do what you did yesterday. Half the 6 is 3, squared is 9. Add and subtract that, just like you did yesterday. Factor it just like you did yesterday. That's all the same. See, yesterday, you did this, you did this, you did this. That's all the stuff you did yesterday. Then at the end, you multiply the 2 back in. That's all. I'm not acting like that's easy. I'm not acting like that's easy.
Where's the 12 go?
I've common factored 2 out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good question. That's it. The steps are all here. So if you get confused when you're doing it, you're like, I forget what to do next. It's all right here, but common factor, then multiply it back in. Here we go. We're in. Slowly with the details this time, without the fancy instructions. Is the a value equal to 1?
No.
No. It's a 3. Oh no. Common factor it out. Somebody makes a great point. I heard them yell out, you can't common factor 17. I agree. Don't worry about the c. Yeah? Just push the c off to the side and go, get out of the way. I know you're not the right number anyways. So you move over there. I'm not going to common factor out of the c. I'm not going to multiply out into the c. I just move it over there, and I do all my complete the square over here. That is the procedure on complete the square. Because that c value might not common factor nicely, and so then it just makes a big mess. So just move it out of the way. Say, I'm going to focus in here. Question? What's that? Oh, he makes a great point. Isn't the greatest common factor 3x? Yes. What I said is I'm just going to common factor out the a. Right? That was our big problem with this situation, was the a wasn't 1. So I'm just taking the a out front. Yes? You're like, aha, you told us before to take the greatest common factor. I know. Today it's not. Today it's just take the a value out.
If this C is like divisible, can I do it?
Yeah, you could, but I wouldn't get in the habit of doing that. I just leave the c out here, okay? Shh. Shh. Just wait. Just wait. Now, focus your attention inside the brackets. What's the b value now? 8. My new b value is 8. What's half of 8? Squared? 16. If you need separate work to do that, that's fine. If the numbers get big and you have to go off to the side and write out b divided by 2 squared, no shame. Wise moves. So here, inside the brackets, I'm going to add 16. Am I allowed to just add 16 to things? No, you can't add 16. But I'm okay as long as I also subtract 16. Over here is the c sitting over there by itself. I'm not worried about the c. I'm just going to leave it over there, not do anything with it. Okay? Next, do this squiggle thing that I said yesterday. Squiggle those 3 terms you're going to factor. What multiplies to 16 but adds to 8? 4 both times. See, I completed the square. This thing's now something squared. So inside the brackets, this is a little awkward. There's a bracket inside the bracket. I encourage you to do what I did. Make the outer brackets big and make the inner brackets small so you can see what's going on. Anybody do any computer coding? When you're computer coding, it usually does this. It makes big brackets, then littler brackets, and you can see which set you're working on. Okay. Did the 3 steps I said I was going to do. Shh. Common factor the a, completed the square like I did yesterday, and now I'm going to multiply the a back in. Okay? Watch carefully. There could be questions. I'm trying to keep it moving, not to confuse you, to stay focused on the plan. The plan is common factor out the a, complete the square, multiply the a back in. I've got a little tidying to do, but I pause for questions. Any questions would be good right now. Please tell me anything about that procedure you want to talk about. Shay, tell me.
In the second line.
Here or here?
Third line, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Why would you keep 8x if you already divided it?
I divided off the 3 and that knocked this down to 8. Then I'm ignoring everything else and just focusing inside the brackets. And the magic number we found out yesterday is half of this b squared. So let me write that up here. I took that 8 and I divided it by 2 and I squared it. And we did a whole bunch of discussion about it. I made a great video of it. And you can watch to see why that's the magic number. But the magic number is this b value, the new b value. It's a new b value. It's not the original b value. It's a new b value. That number divided by 2 squared, and that's how I decided what to add and subtract inside the brackets. But I'm not sure I answered your question. I tried to explain a whole bunch of stuff to surround your question. Now I'm ready for your question again. Go.
Okay, so you kept the 8x, but then you also have the 16.
Yes.
But then you also have the 17. So
Yeah, separate numbers. The 17 if you want. Let me highlight the 17 and see if this helps. The 17, I was like, ignore the 17 for a long time. Just leave it out of the whole thing. Then there's another 16 that pops into the question, introduced by me, because I knew I needed 16. So I put 16 in there. Not allowed. Not allowed. You can't just add 16 to things. So I also subtracted 16. Yeah?
So 16 is not the new C value.
It's, yeah, it's not the real C value. See, it's hard to use the B's and C's here, isn't it? There's like the old C, and then later on, the new C, or you know what I mean, like that, and inside here, the old B and now the new B, you know, that labeling is awkward, no question. Let me show you, I'm going to add one little thing to my solution. The number one error by far with completing the square is right here. People forget to multiply, whoops, I didn't want that in highlight, I wanted that in regular blue pen. They forget to multiply that 3 by the negative 16. Yeah, they forget to distribute that out. So I'm going to highlight that a bunch of times. The rest of the procedure, if you practice it, should be fine, but that one step of multiplying out is usually the step that gets missed when there's an error. Paper? Not a little one, no. Here's a big one, and you can staple it to the back of your chest. Okay. All right. This question at the end is supposed to be very repetitive. The blank value, is it going to be a maximum or a minimum?
Oh, I don't have the answer for that. I have another question.
Okay, let's do your other question first.
Okay, so you multiply the 3 by 16, but why is the 3 still out in front if you already multiplied it?
Oh, because it also gets multiplied by this. That 3 gets multiplied by everything in the bracket. So the 3 gets multiplied by the new brackets I've got there. And it also gets multiplied by the negative 16. Yeah, the A gets multiplied on everything. Yeah. Back to this. Is it a maximum or a minimum? Minimum, because it's opening upwards. So the minimum value of y is, yeah, that y value of the vertex, that's its minimum value, and that happens when x equals -4, the x value goes from positive to negative there. Well, tell me about your questions. Hey, let's do another one. The procedure is factor off the a, complete the square, then multiply the a back in. What's the a this time?
-4.
Take the negative. You don't have to write it like this, but this is me trying to teach as good as I can. See where I wrote the +1? It's like I kicked it over there. I'm like, get out of the way for a second. I'll get back to this in a second. Move it on over. Now the a value is 1. Well, no, it's not. Inside the brackets, it's 1. I'm sort of cheating. I'm like, okay, get that a out of the way so I can focus on the brackets. What's the magic number here? Yeah, -4 divided by 2 is -2. But then squared, +4. So I'm adding 4, and I'm subtracting 4. I encourage you, friends, I encourage you at that moment to put a little squiggle under your trinomial that you're going to factor. That'll help you focus on what you're up to. What two numbers multiply to +4 but add to -4? 2, -2, yeah. So this thing factors as x minus 2 squared. All I've done is replace that trinomial with a perfect square. Then multiply the -4 back in. -4 gets multiplied by the brackets, gets multiplied by the number, and the party's over. Which 2?
Oh, you divide 8 by 2.
What? I don't know what you're asking.
No, actually, no, you lost me. So, you need a that?
No, what? All you do is you
Oh,
factor that,
it's
and then
4.
you have the
4
4,
divided
and
by
then you
2.
divide it by 4.
Yeah, 16 divided by 4 is 4, and then you divide 4 by 2.
I jump in, but I feel like there's great thinking going on here. You're talking it through. Yes, it's all good. Yeah,
I got it.
yeah, it's
I
good.
was doing the wrong steps.
Other questions? Okay.
Let me write it down.
The blank value, is it a max or a minimum?
If I did put some suicide, right?
Yeah, it's maximum. It's negative.
Good, thank you. Maximum.
It's a maximum. It's negative.
Blocker.
You look at the A value, see if it's maximum or minimum. You look at the outside value, the outside value, the Y value.
If you're having trouble knocking down the image of what's happening here, that's got all the information right there. A little sketch, even not a full graph, just to go, okay, it's opening downwards. The vertex is 217. So it's a maximum of y value 17 when x equals 2. Question?
Can I see max instead of maximum? Like this
Max value.
is to be faster.
It's just easier. It's just way too much all the way.
I don't know if spell math. Oh, you have scientific.
Yeah, do all your homework and then you can have shortcuts. Burn.
Mr. Todd, you just wall fade.
5. More questions? Mr. Todd, this is a little weird. I better practice it a whole lot. Yeah. Do you need more time?
Yeah.
Must be all the talking.
All this talking, what? I've actually been so locked in. You haven't seen me talk.
I know it's getting good when your head starts to do this when you're talking.
You know, I wasn't even looking at you when I was talking to you. I was actually trying to write it down. That's how focused I am right now. I'm so sick of it.
Once again, I have 2 daughters. None of this attitude affects me at all.
I hope
Yeah, it's not.
it's all jokes.
It's not. It's every day of the week to me. It's not. Yeah. Yeah. Too lazy to go over there. Questions?
That's your problem.
Hey, let's do one where we actually graph when we're all done. Then you can see all the stuff that maybe was a problem.
It doesn't fit on the graph.
Oh, that's okay. I'm going to fix that problem too. Folks, if your brain has left town because you're like, oh, I'm so good at this, this is not too bad, you better come back for just a second. For this question, is the A value 1? It's -1. Yeah. Factor out -1. If you want to write -1 out there, I like it here to go, it's -1 I'm pulling out of this thing. So this becomes x squared, and this -10 becomes +10. And again, you don't have to write -13 way over there. That's just me trying to do good teaching going, take that C value and get it out of the way. It's just going to cause problems. Now, what's the magic number? Stomp, stomp. No. 10 divided by 2. 5 squared, 25. Okay. Am I just allowed to add 25? No, you also got a minus 25. Squiggle the trinomial. Do yourself a huge favor and squiggle that trinomial so you know what you're doing. What 2 numbers multiply to 25? But add to 10. 5 both times. Now what, friends? Yep. Yeah. Multiply the A value back in now.
When is our test on this?
Later.
This whole weekend, I'm outside, by the way.
I don't think he cares what
Random comments by Jessica. I'm going to answer that later. I'm going to answer that later, just in case you're having trouble answering these questions. Graph it. Vertex. What's the vertex? -5, 12. That doesn't fit on the page. Uh-oh. Step pattern. Step pattern. -1, -3, -5. Yes? But it goes off the page. Well, there's lots of things you can do when this happens. If you've got regular graph paper, you just go what?
You just start it here at -3, 8 and -7, 8. That's my strategy.
Oh, yeah, okay. So let's just go -5, and it's like up here, right? It's up 2 more spots. No big deal, okay? But usually you're using regular graph paper, so you just go a little higher up. It's not a really problem. And then from there, over 1, down 1. That won't be back on the page yet, will it? Then over 1, down 3. 1, 2, 3. Then from there, 5.
Oh, use your hands. What is going on right now? This is so weird.
What's the next one?
Why are you doing this? It's -1, -7.
-1, -3, -5. Some people on the test stopped there. And I didn't mark it wrong or do anything. I went, oh.
Go off the paper and put those little arrows.
Yeah, but really the next one's -7. I hope that, I don't know that I did, that's why I let you away with it when you didn't do the next point. If it fits, get the next point. -7 from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then 9 would go off the page, yes? Yeah. Now this question's easier to answer. Does this thing have a maximum or a minimum? Maximum. Okay, so if you're ever having trouble answering questions like that, just graph it real quick. And the max y value is 12 when x equals -5. Questions? I'm telling you, folks, this stuff takes practice. And if you do the practice, then it might be the easiest part of quadratics with practice. It might be. Especially, a lot of you are very strong algebraically. So if you just practice the procedure, you'll find it very straightforward. So fit it into your tight schedule tonight. Yeah? To that open 5-6 hours you've got somewhere. See if you can't slide that in there.